Oh, this isn't what I thought it was. It's not an action movie.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Do you think it was better than Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
I think it's the best in the series, honestly.
I disagree, but here's the thing. Not only is it a little bit better than its predecessor, which is already saying a lot, but it's basically, in the way that its predecessor was what Conquest of the Planet of the Apes should have been, this is what Battle for the Planet of the Apes should have been. Right down to some of the nods. Just me being a dork and being able to catch this. The whole ape should not kill ape thing, that's straight from Battle of the Planet of the Apes. So the story begins about a decade after the first one. The first one, as you know, ended with the ALZ virus, starting this basically global pandemic, wipes out most of the human population, and by this point, when this movie takes place, humans are basically on the brink of extinction. They are scattered. They don't really have much in the way of communication.
Nods having to do with anything with the apes. They actually forget that the apes are there. Basically.
Well, the apes are really just trying to keep to themselves.
Yeah, the whole reason that this war started is number one because of an asshole. Two assholes. Sorry,
but because of the ALZ, the ALZ 112, and later the ALZ 113 that was created in the lab. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for science. So that's kind of what Caesar was getting at when he said that man destroyed themselves.
Yeah.
So this picks up years later, and the surviving humans, or one group of surviving humans in this colony, once their power is going out, so the only means of power
is from a dam. They need to reroute the power from a dam to their city, but it just turns out that the dam is
in the territory of the apes.
Yes.
Okay, so this man named Malcolm, played by Jason Clarke, and his family go and try and communicate with the apes.
Before the humans decide to massacre them, or try to massacre them.
Yeah. So that's your basic premise, and already Andy Serkis as Caesar is fantastic in this movie.
Andy Caesar is the best character in this entire series.
Again,
the best singular character.
Again, agree to disagree, but
who's the best character for you then?
Well, I think it's debatable because there are such great characters in this series, but you haven't seen the other ones.
I've seen the good ones.
No, you haven't. You've only seen the first one and Tim Burton's one.
And Rise.
You haven't seen Escape from Planet of the Apes.
Like I said, I've seen the good ones. Anyway, this basically is.
I'm glad we come to the point where the use of CGI in performance capture. CGI has come far enough now. I'm so glad for this. CGI has come far enough now to where we are able to employ it as a means to another performance. I'm not saying the entire performance is realized in the computer. We are capturing Andy Serkis's performance and putting it on this digital ape. We are able to use this digital technology, this computer generation technology, to craft characters. I mean, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, we have Gollum, we have Smaug, and in Peter Jackson's King Kong, we have Kong, and with these new Planet of the Apes movies, we have Caesar and the other apes. These characters that were crafted by this perfect marriage of the performance and computers. And that. Sorry to kind of cut you off here, but in the past, CGI has really been, in my opinion, overused to create to create these shortcuts in action scenes and/or create these creatures, because CGI has been used well to create creatures in the past, like Jurassic Park. The Jurassic Park movies used CGI pretty well to create the dinosaurs, but the dinosaurs were not real characters. I mean, they were creatures. These apes are characters. Gollum is a character. Smaug is a character, and Andy Serkis is very much a pioneer in that particular field of the entertainment industry because he is the guy who everyone goes to. He is the. I'm really glad he's getting some well-deserved recognition.
Away from the technical aspect, just in terms of the movie, I do think that the story was basically being set up as a disaster. This could have been a horrible movie if the interactions between the characters weren't so genuine. Like, you really feel like Caesar and Malcolm are slowly but surely gaining this kind of trust in one another.
Yeah,
and that's actually one of the overall themes is
the issue of trust.
Yeah,
and
how it's constantly challenged.
And kind of going back to that, they provide what essentially is one of the emotional cores of this movie, the relationship and the peace between Caesar and Malcolm.
Yeah, it's like
because Franco's gone. Franco's character Will Rodman is gone. He's dead, or it's strongly implied that he's dead.
Well, they no.
It's strongly implied because where is he?
They couldn't get the actor. That's mine. Anyway, they never say he's dead. If anything, he might have just moved into
another account.
Yeah, he might.
They never specifically say what happened to him.
They purposely avoid it, but Malcolm, Caesar says that Franco was a good man, like you are, basically, and that really shows that not only Caesar is able to put his trust in someone other than Franco or the other apes, but it also shows that you want to help me out here because I'm blanking.
Well, it forms the character arc for Caesar in this movie.
Yeah.
Caesar, at the beginning of this movie, really saw things mostly in black and white. You know, apes are good, humans are these mysterious
devils.
Yeah, and
much like the other apes.
And by the end of this movie, he learns that some of the apes that he placed his trust in did not deserve it, just because they were apes. I mean, there are some complex messages about racism, and really, this movie is a war movie. This movie again speaks volumes about war and what it really means to go to war and what it means in terms of losses, in terms of separation, in terms of cost. Because an individual can start a war, or it
only takes a few to start a war between millions. Is what I think this.
Yeah, everyone else has to live with it.
Yeah, war and peace is really fragile if you think about it. If it really takes balance and trust, like this movie is trying to say, for peace to be upheld. And obviously, because humans, of course, are not perfect, and as Caesar sees in this one, apes are not perfect. The fragile balance between human and ape is completely shattered, and Caesar sees this, and that's really his arc, is that he comes to realize that everybody's wrong, life sucks, we have to go to war now because of a couple individuals mess up.
Well, aside from that, the acting all around is just top notch. The ape actors who do the motion capture for the apes are very simian. You never believe for a second
that that's a guy.
That these are humans. You believe that they are apes, very intelligent apes, but apes all the same.
That's what I think, and I brought this up to you multiple times. That's what I think really exceeds every other film in the entire series, because you fully believe that this is an ape colony. You will never think that these are hairy humans, like I thought, I felt when I watched the original, and to a much lesser extent, the Tim Burton films, or the Tim Burton film, singular. In this one, and actually in Rise, you really see that yes, these apes are becoming far more intelligent than we would have possibly imagined, but they are still apes. They will still act primarily on instinct when they are either scared or anger, which you can usually see. Like when I'll give you a great example in a scene where a child ape finds a gun that the humans weren't supposed to have, and the human goes and hits the child. The ape mother kind of attacks, you know.
Or it wasn't the ape mother. It was the brother.
Oh yeah, the brother attacks on instinct because it's kind of instinct to protect, but of course he didn't really think about it that much, which brings up the instinct part of it.
Well, aside from that, the human actors are no slouches either, because the human actors are also very good. These human actors you can easily relate to. They feel very natural. Jason Clarke does a really good job in this movie. Kerry Russell is great as his wife. Really, the weakest link in terms of acting is their kid, who's played by Cody Smit-McPhee. He was just a little bland, but aside from that, Gary Oldman was fantastic as always.
I didn't like his character, but I liked his acting.
Well, his character. Here's the thing: these characters who would ordinarily, in lesser hands, be just these one-dimensional bad guys are just given real, actual depth in this movie. Gary Oldman, like a lot of other humans in this movie, has lost a lot. He lost his kids. So, and Koba is basically Aldo from Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
He is the one that starts the war.
However, he has his own reasons for doing so. He has his own reasons for being so malicious and vengeful toward the humans, because he was essentially a guinea pig for years.
He was beaten and scarred and whipped and stuff.
Yeah,
by the humans for pretty much his whole life, I believe.
Yeah, so him having this seemingly irrational hatred against the humans is actually fairly understandable, and he makes for a decent bad guy. And what I also liked about this movie, particularly with the ape actors, is the fact that this goes back to them being very believable as apes. A lot of the conversations in this movie are used
in their sign language.
Yeah, are conveyed through subtitles.
So get used to reading subtitles.
Which, it makes sense that the apes would not immediately start speaking like they did in the original series. I mean, they're just kind of working up to it. They speak in this kind of broken speech in this movie. This kind of like, Caesar has no place here. And this very guttural, animal-like speech that they do, which actually made a lot of sense because, yeah, this is 10 years in the future, but still.
They wouldn't have developed their human speech until much further along in their lifetime.
And extending the believability and this is a kind of compliment to the location and set design. The ape headquarters.
It's basically a whole bunch of huts.
It's basically a bunch of branches and twigs stacked together in this type of in this little community.
Yeah, it's very small. I found it a little bit hard to believe that they were able to house that many apes in that small area.
Well,
but then again, I will extend my disbelief.
Well, maybe to keep the twigs together, they used what they normally fling at people to make the branches stick together. I'm sorry. That was immature. But the fact that so many complex messages can be conveyed in what is on the surface just a sci-fi action flick is a real credit to.
No, it's not an action flick. That was the thing that
it was marketed as such.
It is basically a suspense film.
Well,
that is what
like
it
I
is.
said, it's a war movie. It's like a war movie, but with all of these underlying messages and really having something substantive to say, I think elevates it to the levels of the classic series. And that again, sorry to kind of go back to our review of the Tim Burton version. That was what I was missing from the Tim Burton version, which was so content to give us just a bare bones action flick. Whereas this and its predecessor, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, are actually taking the time to actually
tell us something.
Yeah, tell us something about the human condition, so on and so forth, about human policies, about tolerance, about war in this movie's case. And
is it just me, or is that in every single one of these films, the first thing the humans think to do is must kill all.
Well, kind of going off on a separate tangent here, the effects. If you thought the effects were good in Rise of the Planet of the
Oh my
Apes,
god, you haven't seen anything yet. Trust me. You could see literally every single hair on every single ape's body.
and the fact that a lot of it is set in the rain and this very moist environment, it's set in this forest.
It's like in a rainforest, yeah.
It gives them an opportunity to show just how real that they can make these apes look, and it never really crosses into uncanny valley territory. It never really crosses into the unsettling. These apes, yeah, they are imposing in their size and their power. The movie never really lets you forget that. But when they
want to see, like,
when they behave intelligently, then you're not really unsettled. You don't really feel like it's that unnatural. You feel like their gradual. You feel like their state in this movie is sort of that gradual step, or one in the many gradual steps they will go through from now until they reach what they were in the original series.
Okay. I agree with everything you just said, by the way. I think it's time to go into spoilers. Just
we're not gonna
like
go
a
into
small section.
Well, here's
Because I really want to discuss a couple things.
two gripes I have.
It suffers pacing issues, in my opinion.
Well,
I
no,
said
I
that
didn't-
about the last one.
I didn't-
But I didn't notice it until I actually thought about how the film was structured. So you won't notice it in the film.
Well, it's structured better than the first one. It's not
Definitely.
really as fragmented this time around, because the first one, like we said,
It was fragmented. It was very much first half, second half.
yeah, first half is Franco's, second half is Caesar's. Here, it does a very good job of balancing the two stories, the human story and the ape story. And I think a large part of that has to do with the fact that the movie treats them as sort of these parallel beings that are more alike than they realize.
Yeah.
So going for that approach really helps in the storytelling aspect. But two gripes I have, and these are not really the faults of this movie in particular. I'm just comparing it to the last movie. The music I didn't think was as memorable as Patrick Doyle's score.
I liked the music at the end, but nothing else really struck me.
Yeah,
as
the music
good.
is fine. It accomplishes what it set out to do, but again, it just was not as memorable.
I find it more atmospheric in this one than the previous one.
Well, the previous one was more bombastic. It was powerful. It was.
This one was powerful too.
Well,
And then again, you've seen this one once while you've seen the rise.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But
So that could be part of it, but yeah, I will agree that the music isn't as good in this one. But in my opinion, if you will just take time to listen at the end, where it does get big and it does get epic, dare I say, then I think you won't be disappointed.
well, speaking of epic, I also really liked Rupert Wyatt's direction in the previous movie, because the previous movie was directed like a lot of scenes in that movie felt really big. There were these sweeping shots, and Rupert Wyatt really know how to achieve this grand scope.
I don't know what movie you saw, but that was like in the last 20 minutes.
No, because even so, even though the battle was in basically the last half hour of that movie,
There wasn't anything else.
hey, shut up! Still, all of the scenes felt big. They felt larger than life.
How about this? They felt important.
No.
That's what I got.
Well, this movie
This one
is a lot more intimate. It's a lot tighter. I'm not saying it's too close to where you can't tell what's going on.
Batman
especially
Begins, I'm looking at you.
Batman Begins. Batman Begins. Don't you say anything bad about Batman Begins. That's my job.
hey, that's your favorite one. Anyway.
Well, this movie is filmed a lot closer. It doesn't really quite achieve the epic scope of the first one, at least not in the way of the cinematography. It does in the story and it does in the characters, but in terms of the cinematography, I didn't really feel it was as sweeping as that last half hour, as you say, of the first one, which I felt was a little bit of a downgrade. But again, that we're nitpicking at this point. This really is just a fantastic movie. It has a genuine heart and soul. The acting is great all around from the humans and the ape actors.
It almost made me cry.
The technology and how it's implemented is just masterful. The detail that goes into making these apes. You could argue, well, these movies feel really fake to me. Every single animal is CGI.
Well, okay.
That is not enough of a deal breaker for me, especially when it's CGI that is done this well. That is when it is performance capture. You are capturing a performance.
And besides, if you're gonna complain about that, don't complain about the apes being not characters, because you can't really train an ape to act. They, as a species, are not intelligent enough,
Or at least
to
not,
act.
or at least not in the way of giving a real dramatic performance. You
Yeah,
can obviously
plus-
train them like animals, but
Plus, they can't talk like these apes can.
yeah. So really, you would have to resort to that old trick of digitally making the animals' mouths move in post production. But
Yeah.
but what did you want to get to in terms of spoilers?
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic film. If you don't want spoilers, leave now. But the really big thing that I wanted to talk about was the twist.
A twist.
Or not really the twist, but the shock moment where Koba shoots Caesar.
Oh
Did you ever fall for that Caesar was dead?
no, but I wanted Koba to say, or I wanted Caesar to say, to Koba.
What?
You don't get it. It's a reference to Caesar. Every Caesar needs his Brutus.
Anyway, I didn't fall for that. I didn't think the movie had enough balls.
Well, it's not. I can really forgive that because that scene wasn't necessarily about, oh, is Caesar dead? Because you know he's not really dead. Otherwise, you would have seen a body. What it really means is the apes are going to war with the humans. That's what that scene is about. It's not really.
I know, but they passed it off as if, oh my god, Caesar is dead. There's no one left to make peace.
Well, with all that these movies do well, I didn't really feel like it was something that they chickened out on.
No. I don't think it was that. I just thought
I just
they were hoping that people thought he was dead, so it would be kind of all the more rewarding to see him rise back up again, a la that Dark Knight Rises.
Well, I think these writers and this director would have the courage to make a move like that, and I can see someone getting disappointed that they didn't, but Caesar's recovery and his climb back up to leadership, it's just so satisfying. I completely forgot about whatever little disappointment I had that, oh, they faked us out. So yeah, fantastic movie. And
Yeah, that was the one thing I wanted to talk about.
yeah, any final thoughts? Anything we didn't get to? I'm interested to see where the series will go from here.
Go see it now!
See it on the big screen.
Yeah, I told my mother this. But it's so much better on the big screen when she said she would see it when it came out on DVD.
I mean, not only is it a technological achievement, but it is a
Final
serious,
battle, man.
but it is a suspenseful, emotionally impactful drama that with many things to say, many underlying messages and you could take it at face value, but in my opinion, you would be missing out. You could take it at face value and still walk away satisfied, but if you read a little deeper, then you will get a more rewarding experience in my mind. So, anything else? Nope. Or at least not for me. And
Go see it now!
yeah, right now.
Go!